We have the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Segun Ajayi Kadri. Mr. Kadri, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and it's a pleasure to see you and to speak with you today.
Yeah, I wonder if it will be a pleasure. I don't know if you've been able to put your eye on the inflation numbers. It just came in just a couple of minutes before we came on air. Now 33.2% from 31.7%. And finally, food inflation has hit 40%. What does this mean to manufacturers?
Yes, naturally, it's a worrying development. What it means is that we are going to have our products priced in higher numbers. And when you juxtapose this with the depleting disposable income of the average buyer, it means less purchases for us. But I think what we have seen is that there is a deceleration in terms of the increases. So it might be an indication that some of the policies being taken by government are beginning to have impact, so that it will decelerate the rate at which inflation is going. All eyes on inflation. There is need for us to bring it down. That is climbing to 33.2% does not portend good tidings for the environment, particularly those of us that compete in the market for buyers' attention. So I think that is still something that we need to tame. Inflation remains a very big denominator for looking at how well the economy is performing. And we do know that the CBN and all other organs of government are trying to manage very delicate balance between inflation rate, exchange rate, and interest rate. So this remains a challenge. And for us in the manufacturing sector, the cost of our input, the prices of our products makes us to be in an uncomfortable position. But I believe that if we keep on with what government is doing, we follow consistently, and we continue to engage, we should be able to work seriously on bringing the inflation rates down.
At least we see that the Naira is gaining. It's been gaining now. I think it's getting close to a month. We were just having a conversation before I came on air to say, well, we see the Naira gaining, but it doesn't seem to reflect in the prices of commodities. And yet, when the Naira was losing value, it was quick to reflect in commodities.
Yes, I think that that is another development that we'll have to see in the next quarter, maybe in the second quarter of the year. Most of the inventory that we carry now still carry the tag of the old rate. So if you have produced at when the exchange rate was 1,500, 1,600, 1,700, it will be very difficult for you to bring down your cost, because then you will be recovering and you wouldn't be making any profit. So what I think we need to wait for is for the impacts to start to show, maybe as we move into the second month of the second quarter.
But Dr. Kadri, it was quick to reflect when the Naira was losing value. We didn't have to wait by then.
No, but we didn't produce with when the Naira was not losing value. That's what I want you to know. So maybe the Naira lost value in the first quarter of the year. In the second quarter of the year, it is regaining value. So I think we need an average of 1 quarter for us to be able to even out, because all the inventory that we carry, all the costs that went into production happened when the Naira was losing value. So you wouldn't expect that kind of a turnaround. But like I said, it's a positive thing. It shouldn't make us to lose the joy that we should feel, even though another conversation is to whether we'll be able to sustain the level of appreciation we've had. But I think we should enjoy the moment. The CBN has done quite a number of things. Some of them we still need to work on. But that the Naira is appreciating should be good news for those of us in the private sector. Of course, we must place a lot of caution on the fact that supply still remains very key in sustaining it, and domestic production is king in terms of sustaining it. But yes, believe you should start to see the difference maybe as we go into the second quarter.
Or you mean the second month in the second quarter, because we're already in the second quarter.
Yes. I can see you are putting a timing to everything. You
It's
must be
very
really fed up
important.
with high prices.
It's very important, Mr. Kadri, because I mean, Nigerians' purchasing power has been eroded. Nigerians are really feeling the pinch, and
Yeah.
then you take a certain amount of money you used to take to the market, and you come out asking yourself what you did with it. But I'd like to know how this appreciation of the Naira is affecting your operations, production costs, and all of that.
Okay, so for us to start with, the fact that it is appreciating is good news because we source our raw materials. Most of our raw materials are sourced from outside of the country, which means that we need to acquire the dollar to be able to procure it. So what this means in simple terms is the fact that we are requiring less Naira to be able to procure our raw materials. And what this should translate to is a deceleration in the pressure that we have continued to feel. So even in the parallel market and in the official market, we are experiencing this development. But like I told you, it is very important that whatever happens in terms of business is sustainable. So manufacturers in the past have suffered the high exchange rate. And even though we still have an unfinished business with the uncleared forward, but that is a different conversation. So if we concentrate on how it has affected us, I think what it means is that we are now going to source our raw materials, spares, and machines that are not available locally at a lower rate. And this should translate into what constitutes the cost of our production. So it is a welcome development, but it is something that has not yet been translated into our purchases. What I mean is that this new rate that we are sourcing the dollar, we are now acquiring it, and we will use it to open from M. I'm trying to be as simple as is possible so that we appreciate it. And then we make the orders. So those production processes that will follow afterwards should be able to reflect the downward trend in the rates. I think that is the way I would like to put it. So it's a welcome development. Kudos to the CBN. There is the need for us to sustain this appreciation in the rate of the Naira, and for us to ensure that we have supply sufficiency, and the fact that we intentionally promote domestic production, because ultimately that is what is going to help us to sustain this level of appreciation. If what you need is majorly determined by what you import, there is no way you'll be able to manage the rate of the Naira, to the dollar. But if we're able to ramp up domestic production so that we can substitute those things that we normally source, then we will have what would lead us to a fairly stable exchange rate.
And I guess another thing that could lead to reduction in your operation costs and consequently prices would be the Dangote diesel. Dangote had told us that it's going to be selling out at 1,200, which, I mean, of course, there'll be markup price and all of that, but hopefully to not get as high as the 1,005, 1,006, which is being purchased at this time. Have you started seeing that in the different arms of manufacturers?
Okay, so Dangote being able to produce locally should actually be a lesson to all of us. You can't beat domestic manufacturing. We have said it that manufacturing is a strategic choice that nations make so that they will be resilient, so that they will be self-sufficient. So you can imagine if all the diesel that we are going to need in Nigeria because of the inadequacy of power, we're able to rely on Dangote's diesel and it's coming at 1,200. It immediately changes the game. It reduces our cost in sourcing our energy from other sources different from the national grid that has persistently disappointed manufacturers. So that is one basic issue we must not gloss over. And this should be the recipe for other sectors, that you intentionally put your money where your mouth is. You promote domestic manufacturing. That's the only way out. So as far the effect is going to have, yes, and it is coming at a time that we are even having the price of electricity supply going up, even though there has been no evidence of improved supply. But be that as it is, the fact that Dangote is supplying us with diesel at 1,200, which is a far better price than we are having before, provides some sort of succor. And when you combine this with the improvement in the rate of the Naira, I think we are likely to see an appreciation in productivity in the country. So it's a positive development. Our members, yes, some of them have started to acquire it. But like I said, the production process is not always as dramatic as what comes to it. So we are going to start to see the effect on our total costs of power in the next few months. So I think it's a welcome development for us. And we should also look forward to encouraging more of the Dangotes so that we will have our domestic economy being self-reliant, and there will be cross-sectoral exchanges that reinforces our productivity.
Dr. Kadri, I heard you say that in spite of the increase in the tariff, your 225 for kilowatts, there hasn't been the promised 20-hour or at least 20-hour supply. Is that what you meant when you said you haven't seen an increase in supply?
So clearly, in some cases, there has been no, we've not been having the 20 hours. I mean, that's why some companies or some organizations are being downgraded to Band B, or the so-called Band B. I mean, because the clarity there is not there, but I mean, the clarity is not there, but we can see that those in Band A, from what NEC has said, is those who enjoy power 24 hours. We are at the moment still collating information from our members as to what they actually enjoy. And that's why you can see that we have been a bit slow in responding to this new tariff order that has been given by NEC. So you do not enjoy 24 hours of supply and you are on Band A. I think what is morally and in fact professionally important to do is for those people to be downgraded. And we are not talking of whether it is indeed the right price at 225. Because when you compare it with other nations, you will see that we are far ahead in terms of the cost that we pay, even though we compete in the same environment. Imported products from low cost, energy cost environment find their ways into the country and they beat you in the market, not to talk of the ones we are going to produce and export. So there's need for us to be able to strike a balance as to what is right for us to pay for electricity supply and what the parameters for determining how you place people on band. I mean, not to say that this issue of introducing differential prices for Band A also is strange to us, and I don't think it's known to the mito that we always have known as what is determining how we price our energy. But when we get to the river, we'll cross it. We are obviously going to engage NEC for us to be able to know what is appropriate. But 225 is way too high, and the fact of a 20-hour supply is not certain.
But NERC, NEC, has already said that our electricity is one of the cheapest in the world, in Africa.
I don't think that is correct. If you compare it with Ghana, I think in Ghana it will amount to 152 Naira, and in Benin it's 125 Naira. So I think we can do the maths. It is not correct.
All right. Well, we'll await, the gathering of your data, because it would be nice to know. I wanted to ask if you could give us an average supply given to some, at least majority of your members. But you say you're still gathering the data, so I don't think. Or do you have an idea at this time?
No, the initial feeling we have is that many of our members that are on Band A don't enjoy 20 hours of supply. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And even in our homes, we know what is happening to us, and it can't be too different from what is happening to industries. And secondly, those who enjoy 20 plus hours of electricity, there has to be a justification for putting it at 225, because we operate in an environment that is not completely dominated by domestic production. We compete with products from other climes that do not suffer this kind of high tariffs. And there has to be looking at the cost that goes into determining the price. Are we paying for efficiency or inefficiency? Have the people who are adducing these prices, have they done what they are supposed to do? by the agreements that they had when they took over those, the discos? Have they done the right investment? Do they have the capacity? Are we praying for distribution and transmission losses that ought to have been assuaged? I mean, as a manufacturer, I can't come to you and say my product is defective, but you have to pay for that flaw. I don't think it makes any sense. So there has to be an interrogation as to what is leading to the cost that they are adducing and what we are paying for.
All right. Thank you so much, Director General, Chief Executive Officer of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Dr. Segun Ajayi Kadri. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.